Welcome everybody to today's LearnOn webinar, Writing to Read. My name is Des Arnold. I am a tax staff developer in the area of literacy. On this slide, you can see the team that has put together the LearnOn website, along with all of the webinars that we have put on to date, as well as all of our future webinars. You can see that the team is extensive and crosses departments and specialties. If you've been to any of our webinars so far, these next slides will be very familiar to you. So I am going to flip through them as quickly as possible while touching all of the points. Some of our Zoom webinar meeting norms: your chat microphone and camera have been disabled. This is in part due to the large size of attendance we have received in some of our meetings. If you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A box on your screen. But please remember that these questions and answers will be viewable to everyone. If you have a question or would like to use your microphone, you can raise your hand in your chat box. Please make sure that you don't completely leave our webinar before the link for your Act 48 credits is put in the chat box, but there should be a screen that pops up on your web browser upon closure of the meeting. All Pennsylvania educators will receive Act 48 credits for this webinar. As I said before, at the close of the meeting, a link will be pushed to your web browser. Jess is our moderator today, and she will also be putting the link for the Act 48 credits and the evaluation form in the chat box at the end of our session. Act 48 credits are available only to Pennsylvania educators, although parents and educators from other states are welcome to attend as well. There is a webinar archive. All of the webinars that have previously been recorded are available on the LearnOn website. The link is here, and Jess has put that in our chat box as well. And our resource site, learnon.iu12.org, where you can find schedule for webinars and office hours, as well as all of our previous recordings and resources by tax specialty, as well as resources and tools for educators and parents alike. While we are distance learning or remote learning or online learning, whatever your school is calling it, we want to keep in mind our continuity of education, whether you are doing review and enrichment or planned instruction. Also, FAPE, free appropriate public education. This applies to all students. We sometimes think of FAPE for special education, but it does apply to all students, and our ability to provide access and education to everyone, and this includes internet access and devices. While online learning is occurring, please remember that less is more. Be sure to prioritize and balance. We don't want to overwhelm our students with too much, and we want to ensure that they are receiving education, but also that we are keeping in mind their social emotional learning and making sure that they balance their work time with their family time, just as we as educators are balancing our work time with family time. When doing videos, it is important to let your students see your face. This applies to the social emotional learning. As a matter of fact, let me turn on my video. I did forget to do that earlier. I apologize. So here's my face, not just my picture. When recording videos, limit the length. We do not want the videos that we are sending to our students to exceed 6 minutes. As a matter of fact, if you can break a video into 2 3-minute segments, that would be even better. Be clear in your objectives and expectations. And be clear in identifying the time you want your students to take to complete the task. I know as a parent and as an educator, I have heard of many students who are spending time on their schoolwork from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we really want to limit their screen time and give them time to be students as well. In a traditional classroom, they would not be working on work straight through 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we want to be sure that we are honoring their needs. And be clear in your organization and sequence of instructions. So this is going to be a short and sweet webinar. We only have a couple of outcomes for today. Participants will gain an understanding of using writing as a tool to gain reading comprehension. And participants will gain tools and resources to assist in writing with students while remote learning. I will preface this webinar by telling you that today's information and resources came primarily from 2 sources. The first being Letters, Edition 3, Unit 8, which is primarily on writing, which is where I've pulled these best practices. Have students write about texts that they have read. In doing this, you want to provide daily time for students to write and teach students to use the writing process for a variety of purposes. Teach students the writing skills and processes that go into creating text. Increase how much students write. And it's important at this point to recognize that writing is going to look extremely different across the grade levels. A kindergartner's ability to write and a first grader's ability to write are going to be very different, as are second grade to third grade to fourth grade to fifth grade, and on and on. So I want you to focus on what this means at your grade level, because it will look very different. And if you have any questions about what this would look like at your grade level, you can put questions in the Q&A box, or you can visit our office hours that will be occurring at 10 a.m. in a different Zoom room. Writing to read considerations. This information was pulled primarily from Writing to Read, Evidence for How Writing Can Improve Reading. This is an article that is research-based and evidence-based, written by Steve Graham and Michael Herbert in 2010. The article is linked at the bottom of your screen. The overall gist of this article is that writing is recommended as a tool for improving reading. Students' comprehension of science, social studies, and language arts texts is improved when they write about what they read. Specifically, when they respond to a text in writing, such as a summary or notes or asking questions. Students' reading comprehension is improved by having them increase how often they produce their own text. That goes back to our best practices of having them increase the frequency of writing. And writing about text is an effective activity for lower achieving students as well. This is not just for our average students or advanced students, but writing about read texts is also effective for our lower achieving students. And I think that that's really important to keep in mind when we're talking about writing to read as well. So the first step in writing to read is have your students read. There are a variety of online resources to have your students read text right now. Storyline Online offers read alouds across curriculum. This is an excellent resource for some of your younger students. Some of your older students might find this a little babyish, for lack of a better term. News ELA or News Ella has nonfiction articles, again, that go across grade level and subject. Some of these articles have been absolutely fascinating. I have seen everything from including a llama in a marriage ceremony to news on what is happening right now across the world with COVID-19. Scholastic Learn at Home is currently free through the COVID shutdown. It offers day-by-day projects that keep kids reading, and again offers a variety of subjects and content. This resource offers content in grades K through 12. ReadWorks offers reading passages on different levels of complexity and includes vocabulary and question sets so that you can offer your students something to read and then offer them a writing prompt to respond to. But you can also include your vocabulary and comprehension questions as well using this resource. Common Lit, which is always free and offers PDFs. Epic is offering a free trial. I believe that is free through the shutdown as well, but I would have to double check. Epic is fantastic for giving students different ebooks to read in grades K through 5. Free Kids Books is a library of unique children's books and literary resources. There are a ton of other resources that you can use to have your students reading online. But don't forget that your students also have at-home libraries where they can choose books to read at home as well. Step 2, you want to make sure that you plan your writing. And I have included on this slide a writing planning checklist. And this was a resource that was pulled out of the Letters training manual and is available through Letters, but I have included the planning checklist is hyperlinked in this presentation. So if you click on it, it will take you to a PDF for you to print. Teachers want to make sure that they plan their writing assignment using some sort of planning checklist or a planning guide. Students will progress faster if a teacher maps out the assignment clearly and specifically. Be sure to set realistic goals that match what students can do. Give students the tools they need to accomplish assignments in a reasonable amount of time and models good writing. Again, we want to keep in mind the scale on which students can write, be it their grade level or their achievement level. Writers, even young ones, should have a clear goal or purpose in mind, know what is expected of them, and know who the audience for their writing is going to be. Some questions to have students ask before writing. And be sure that your assignment offers an answer to these questions. What am I writing? What is the assignment? Who is my audience? Why am I writing? Is it to entertain, to inspire, to explain, or to persuade? It is very important to keep in mind that student writing will look different at each grade level. In kindergarten, a student may draw a picture followed by a few words. Perhaps those few words that the student writes are going to be copied from something that you write. In 3rd grade, a student will write in details and sentences and form a paragraph. In 5th grade, that paragraph will be significantly longer. Step 3 in writing to read is to develop your prompt. What do you want the students to write about? This is a time when you want to connect comprehension to after reading. Writing assignments in a good way to reinforce and extend comprehension and give students a defined context for their writing task. Ask a question about the text. Address a specific skill, like perhaps summarizing. This is an area where you can incorporate your TDA. Most TDA prompts are comprised of 3 statements: the reading element or elements that students are expected to analyze, the information describing the task, and the expectation to use evidence from the text. Newsela.com is an excellent resource to do this when looking at the anchor standards attached to their quizzes. On this slide, I have hyperlinked a folder that has graphic organizers and story frames. So here are some resources that you can use during step 3, or that you can give to your students once you have developed your writing prompt in step 3. Remember that we want our students to follow the writing process, and that planning stage is very important. Now it's time for student writing. When we think about remote learning and writing, we want to ensure that students are able to complete the assignment with ease and without frustration. Writing prompts can be assigned right through Google Docs or in your Google Classroom. In using this free tool, you are able to send your students a prompt, graphic organizers, and have them complete their writing and evaluate it. You can type your prompt right into Google Docs, and when sending them the link, you can force a copy, or you can teach your students how to make their own copy before turning in their assignment. I have hyperlinked on this slide a video by a YouTuber called Pocket Full of Primary. And this video is on how to create a digital assignment for the Google Classroom. She takes you through step by step to create a graphic organizer using Google Slides. I like how clear her instructions are. This particular graphic organizer is for vocabulary. It's a 4-square, but the directions are so easy to follow, it would be easy to alter it. In her video notes is a link for her graphic organizer. So if you are interested in a vocabulary graphic organizer, particularly a 4-square, you can just go to her video and snag her graphic organizer out of her show notes. Step 4, evaluate the student's writing. Anytime a student completes an assignment, you want to provide feedback or evaluation. Writing is no different, especially in remote learning. To evaluate student writing, you'll want to use a rubric or a checklist. Be sure it's aligned to their age group and your prompt. Your rubric should include both foundational skills and comprehension, and be sure to check for understanding. On this slide, there's a hyperlink for an evaluative checklist. It is a PDF that is provided by Letters. You can see at the top, it scores foundational skills, such as letter formation and handwriting, which obviously wouldn't be applicable on Google Docs. However, this is also where you would score the spelling and punctuation and word, sentence, and paragraph spacing. Composition, you can see the scoring for that as well. It is important when writing that you focus on both of these. just like our simple view of reading includes word recognition and language comprehension to get reading comprehension, good writers need foundational skills and composition in order to be good writers. At this point, I'm going to ask if there are any questions, if you want to put them in the Q&A box. Again, my name is Des Arnold, and here is my contact information highlighted in yellow, along with all of the literacy tech staff developers' contact information as well. On this slide, you can see the link to my Zoom room. Again, my Zoom room will be open at 10 o'clock for open office hours regarding writing to read. Please don't forget about our LearnOn website, learnon.iu12.org. This is where you will find our schedule as well as all of our recorded webinars. Please don't leave before filling out your Act 48 form and our LearnOn web eval. Your feedback for us is very important.
Des, we have a question, sorry to interrupt, in the Q&A that maybe you could answer quickly. The question was, what was the name of the YouTube video, Pocket Full of
Primary? She does a lot of YouTube videos on online learning, and she was creating Google Classroom videos long before the shutdown occurred. And once the COVID shutdown happened, she started focusing even more on it. I have subscribed to her channel. She's entertaining to watch. She is not very dry at all. She is very much a primary teacher. Keep that in mind when watching her. But she has a lot of great informative videos. And again, that is Pocket Full of Primary. And in the slide deck, the video that is linked, you can go directly to her YouTube channel. If there are no other questions, we can go ahead and end this meeting. I want to thank you all for showing up and coming ready to learn today. Again, if you have any questions on writing to read, you may come to the open office hours in my Zoom room at 10 o'clock. And feel free to contact me or any of the literacy tech at using our emails provided on the slide if you have any questions regarding literacy at all, specifically during the remote learning due to the COVID shutdown. I thank you all for attending and have a beautiful day.